Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie Hardy of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and there is a lot going on from Raw last night, and I wanted to take the time to come on here and at least record and say something on behalf of these women right here who I love and appreciate so very much in my own life. That's Naomi and Sasha Banks, the women's tag team champions. They are two of the most talented women, black women in wrestling today, period. And they are a part of a list of so many different black female champions that we have in all of wrestling. Like you have Tasha Steeles, the Impact champion, the Impact Knockouts champion. You have Bianca Belair, the Raw Women's champion. You have Jade Cargill, the TBS champion, and just so many others and other promotions as well. And these women are the standard of that. And I want to start by saying how much I love and appreciate these women so very dearly for all the entertainment and all the years of love and for their craft that they have shown and just being able to witness their evolution as wrestlers and as talent has been a blessing for me as a fan and also as a journalist at this point. Um, and I just wanted to start off by saying that and just talking about how much I love them and how I hold them in such high regard. Now, of course, this is brought on because yesterday there were a lot of reports talking about Sasha and Naomi walking out of Raw because they were billed to participate in a six-pack challenge on Raw to qualify to be the next number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship held by Bianca Belair. It was supposed to be a match between Naomi, Sasha, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. But that was changed because those women apparently showed their displeasure with the booking because, of course, Naomi was supposed to go over um, on Sasha, according to rumors, and they they weren't satisfied with where their story were going to go as tag team champions after that point, or basically um, being made to sort of, I guess, possibly put both of the champions over in terms of Ronda and Bianca, and not having any other plans for their tag titles. And the fact that they actually spoke out about this being an issue was an issue for a lot of people apparently, and then WWE released a statement and it had all gone downhill from there. First of all, I want to speak from the perspective of not only a wrestling fan but also as a black woman. Um as you know, or may not know, depending on what spaces you run in, there's always an attack on black people as a whole. And it started this past weekend with the horrible, tragic events of Buffalo at the Tops grocery store, where 11 people were killed by a white supremacist. And it's already hard enough having to deal mentally with the idea that you can't go to the store as a black person and be safe as a black person without being afraid of being attacked. Number two, being in wrestling and seeing other wrestling fans, dog you out and dog these black women out and degrade them and speak against them in such ugly ways and call them ugly names just for speaking out about something that they didn't like and saying that they should just be happy with what they're given is absolutely ridiculous. And that is the type of prejudice that needs to be checked at the door. And you cannot make your insecurities their problem. I hate that in the wrestling world, we try to believe and we try to unite all of us because we all love wrestling so much. But then, whenever stuff like this happens, whenever women like Naomi, Sasha Banks, or Big Swole get on a platform somewhere and speak about their displeasure about something, we're always disrespected and ran over and treated with disrespect. But then, the minute we treat you guys with the same energy that people treat us, it's a whole issue. It's a problem. We can't speak out on things. We should just be happy with where we are. We should just, as Sasha Banks said in a clip on the Broken Skull sessions, eat our pizza and just be grateful, eat our hot dogs and just be grateful. This is not that type of situation. Sasha Banks is a 7-time women's champion, and I believe at this point a 3-time Women's Tag Team Champion. She is a main eventer of WrestleMania. She is an ESPY winner, and she is also a TV star, and a streaming star in terms of The Mandalorian and anything else that she might have going on at this point outside of wrestling. She is a mainstream star, and she could very well be the next Rock in terms of her mainstream status. Naomi is a two-time SmackDown Women's Champion, and she never won the Divas title, which is an issue and an oversight that WWE has to live with. And she is for the first time a tag team champion with Sasha Banks. But her attention and her unapologetic glowy style, and especially when she had her natural hair out at the Royal Rumble in 2020, got the attention of so many people who either never watched wrestling before, or um or basically wanted to watch wrestling simply because of her, because she had the boldness to be herself on such a public platform in that way. And it disheartens me to see that these women are being thrown up under the bus, number one, for speaking out and made to look in a negative way, especially considering they were faces. And it's also disheartening to watch fans consistently disrespect them and compare them to animals like monkeys, or using all kinds of racial slurs in order for you to make a point. If you are a wrestling fan and if you disagree, you should be able to make your point without being racially disrespectful. It's stupid, it's childish, it's 2022. Grow up and find another way to express yourself verbally. Number two, these women deserve the right to talk about the things that they are displeased with without feeling like they can't do it or not feeling safe enough to do it, simply because of everything that they give to offer the WWE. They are two of the biggest draws that WWE has, not only just in terms of black women, but just in terms of women as a whole. I've seen little girls who aren't black dress up like Naomi or dress up like Sasha Banks at wrestling events every time. So the idea that these women will be treated as anything less than what they are worth is absolutely ridiculous. And I hope that WWE has the wherewithal to fix whatever issues that they have made with Sasha Banks and Naomi, because if they don't, and if they don't value them the way that they deserve to be valued, they're going to lose two of the greatest talents that they have ever had. And they will spend a lifetime making up for that mistake. I said this on Black Wrestling Alliance's Wrestle Extra. Shout out to those guys over there doing great things in the UK with Black wrestling as a whole. I said this, I really feel that Naomi has other places that she could go in terms of her career after wrestling. She could decide that she wants to be a mother. She could go into fashion. She could go into hair products. She can do anything. She could even start a daytime talk show because she has such a good attitude. Or she could go to Impact Wrestling and be a knockout and uplift their division a whole lot more, because their division is stacked and they could definitely utilize someone like Naomi a whole lot better, and that's where she could go afterwards. Sasha Banks is headed for Hollywood. She will be just fine without WWE. And the idea that there are people in that company only seeing them within their wrestling bubble is absolutely short sighted on their part. If they don't fix it, they will spend a lifetime trying to fix those mistakes. And that's just the truth of the matter, and that's just how I feel. And honestly, when it comes to the women's tag division, there are so many women that are being underutilized and not being seen on television as much. And if they're not going to utilize the women's tag team titles the way that they deserve to be utilized, at the very least have the respect to either turn them into a single mid-card titles or just get rid of them altogether. But you would be doing a disservice to those other women who are not able to fight for the main Raw and SmackDown women's titles. You would be doing a disservice to those women and not giving them anything to do with that aspect. So there's just so much that goes into it, but here I am hoping, on the positive note, that WWE does seek to fix whatever it is that went on, because of course I don't know. I'm not a know-it-all and I don't work for them, so I can't speak for them, but I hope that they do turn around and fix it, because if they don't, they will lose two of the greatest talents that they've ever had, and that's just the truth of the matter. But then if they do fix it, I'm hoping that they do position the women's tag division in a much better way than it has been over the past couple of years or since its existence. But in the meantime, right now, it doesn't look as best as it could. But for these black women, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, me, your girl Stephanie, will always support Sasha Banks and Naomi in whatever it is they decide. If they decide to stay with the company, I will still support them. If they decide to possibly leave in spite of this treatment, in terms of this treatment, then I will be disappointed, but I will still support them in whatever it is they choose to do, because people love them. We ride for Naomi, we ride for Sasha Banks and everything that they do. And I only seek to see the best out of this situation. So if these women, whatever decision these women decide to make, I am here for it. They deserve so much. They have inspired a generation of wrestlers, especially of black female wrestlers, to want to pursue this craft, to want to pursue this sport. They have done so much for wrestling, for that company. And when it comes to people like Naomi, Naomi has been there for as long as Natalia has been there, from the Divas division all the way up until now. Sasha Banks is a reason why the evolution has taken place the way that it has over these past several years. These two women deserve nothing but the utmost respect and nothing but the utmost greatest treatment, when it comes to how they are booked and how they are seen. And the titles deserve that. The titles that they carry deserve that. The titles don't make the champions make the titles. And they deserve nothing more than what any higher power has to offer them. They deserve all of the great things. They deserve the stake. They deserve every bit of pull that they have worked for. It makes me sick how in wrestling people think that black women should just take what they're given and just be grateful, when there are so many men that can work for so many years and still have a certain amount of pull within the company. But then a woman does it and it's all of a sudden the worst thing in the world. And then if a black woman does it, it's even worse. What is that? That's not fair. We're here just like everyone else is, and we deserve that fair treatment just like everyone else does. There have been people, and I'm not going to say who have been on television and acted way unprofessional than Sasha and Naomi ever have. And they're not getting any flack for it in comparison to the flack that Sasha and Naomi have gotten in the past 24 hours. And it is absolutely ridiculous and sad. WWE, get your stuff together, because you cannot afford to lose these women, these beautiful, talented, multi talented, athletic GOAT women. You cannot afford to lose them. So don't. Do better by them. And that's all they're asking, is for you to do better by them. Don't fail them and don't fail us. And that's all I have to say about that. I am Stephanie Hardy, and I'm a black female content creator and commentator for the Belladonna division and for the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and Women's Wrestling Talk. We deserve what we work for and what we put our energy into. We deserve all of the good things that come from that. And if you don't like it, then that's your problem. But we are here to stay, and we are here to reap all of the good things that come within this wrestling universe. And that's all I have to say about that. Like, share, and subscribe to the Hardy Wrestling Podcast if you have a mind to. Follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Queen Steph Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter, and follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy WrestlePod. Thank you.